Before the invasion of Okinawa, U.S. had previously seized the island of Iwo Jima. Looking to move into mainland Japan, United States seek to invade the island of Okinawa. The Battle of Okinawa was a hard-fought victory for the United States and an important stepping stone in their victory over Japan. However, the battle took away so much from U.S. war efforts that it drove U.S. to drop nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Battle of Okinawa began on March 23, 1945. United States invaded the island to establish a base from which to set up the assault on mainland. U.S. invasion forces included Simon Buckner's 10th Army along with 3 Marine divisions and 4 Army divisions. Naval operations were commanded by Admiral Raymond Spruance. The naval operations included 300 warships carrying 1,000 aircrafts, Vice Admiral Mark Mitcher's Naval Invasion Forces, and Vice Admiral Sir Bernard Rawlings' Royal Navy carriers. United States would begin their invasion on the southern tip of the island. Reconnaissance before the invasion showed that there were nearly 120,000 Japanese soldiers. Before invading mainland Okinawa, U.S. had seized control of the Kurama-Reto Islands, which surround Okinawa. After being cleared by Vice Admiral Blandy's breach force, the Marine divisions worked their way into Hagushi Beach. United States quickly take up the central region of the island and 2 airfields. While the Marines invaded the mainland, Buckner and his Army division tried to seize the island of Ieshima. Another reconnaissance mission showed that there were over 2,000 Japanese soldiers on Ieshima. After 17 days of battle, Buckner and his army seized Ieshima. Back on mainland Japan, the Japanese naval forces launched their final onslaught. The assault featured the largest battleship ever built, the Yamato, the Yahagi destroyer, and 8 more destroyers. The Japanese strategy was to sandwich the U.S. forces on the bay with the ships. However, Mitcher's Air Division noticed the battleships heading towards Okinawa during one of their patrols. Mitcher quickly ordered an attack against these ships. Due to lack of air cover, American planes successfully sunk 6 battleships including the Yamato and forcing the other 4 to flee. On Okinawa, General Ushijima of Japan ordered his army to go on the offensive, despite facing staggering numbers of casualties. Japanese troops carry out banzai attacks against the 32nd Army, forcing them to go on defense. Although successful at first, Ushijima's army were unable to uphold the offense and eventually reverted back to defense. Failure to make progress on offense, Ushijima is forced to retreat toward the Shuri Line. As United States continually move forward, the Japanese defenses begin to dwindle. However, on June 18th, 10th Army's General Simon Buckner dies from a sustained wound. Although a devastating loss for U.S., they continue their assault and 3 days later, Ushijima commits suicide. With their defenses weakening and with the loss of their general, the Japanese on Okinawa finally surrendered. The Battle of Okinawa took a significant toll on both U.S. and Japan, not only in terms of firepower, but also in their casualties suffered, including citizens of Okinawa. Out of the 120,000 Japanese soldiers, more than 110,000 were killed. The U.S. 10th Army lost 7,293 soldiers and 31,000 wounded. In the 82 duration of the battle, up to 150,000 civilians were killed. The U.S. Navy spent about 40,000 shells, 30,000 rockets, and 20,000 mortar shells a day during the battle. Over 3,000 kamikaze planes were sacrificed, which sunk more than 36 ships and inflicting heavy damage on 368 others. The Battle of Okinawa led the United States to the conclusion that the invasion of mainland Japan would inflict a devastating number of casualties. President Harry Truman was faced with a tough decision whether or not to invade mainland Japan or whether to agree to the dropping of the atomic bombs. Ultimately, Truman came to the conclusion that dropping nuclear bombs on Japan would be a better option instead of an invasion of mainland, risking heavy casualties. 8 days after the bombs detonated on August 14, 1945, Japan would surrender. An estimated 150,000 Japanese civilians were killed, as thousands of people died even months later due to radiation sickness. Looking back, it is easy to say that the actions of Harry Truman were barbaric, but in the heat of the battle, it is difficult to go against his choice to preserve the soldiers' lives.